Hello. I haven't posted to Newgrounds since '99, but a friend of mine mentioned that there was an event going on called the Creepypasta Collab. I've always been a fan of scary stories, even the crappy ones, so I figured I'd share a story from my teenage years that got me even more interested in horror than I already was. Honestly, it was like a double-edged sword at the time and seemed to pierce through my very soul. I grew up pretty close to a shopping center. My dad and I used to go there all the time. There was a barber shop my dad used to go to all the time after work. And there was a Waffle House, and we used to eat breakfast there almost every morning. One of my favorite places to visit was a thrift shop that laid right in between the shops and the restaurant. Even at the time, I want to say 2002, maybe 2003, I was into old technology, mostly thanks to my dad. We used to watch a bunch of old movies on videotapes together. Alien, The Exorcist, Jaws. You could say he introduced me to the horror genre at an age that I was probably too young to witness, but I was enthralled. One day when I was 13, we had finished up breakfast at the Waffle House and he decided to take me to the thrift store next door. I was stunned. There were tons of old machines and media scattered across even white shelves. The machines, like VHS video players, were antiquated but still so cool. It felt so magical to me at the time. I found it strange to see a lot of the things my dad used to show me when I was younger in the store after only a few years. I told the grisly cashier, whose white counter was to the middle right of the store, I was looking for something weird, something scary. It was October after all. Good time to be unnerved. The cashier said, "There was a man who just ran into the building about an hour ago. He needed to get rid of some tapes he had. I asked the man how much he wanted to sell them for, and he said he'd give them up for free, as long as he didn't have to look at those damn tapes again." The clerk lifted a small box from behind the counter and said in a joking tone that, "Whatever's on those tapes must be pretty rough if it scared the shit out of that guy." The owner's gruff laugh shook his entire rotund frame like a bowl of jelly. He said that since the owner of the tapes hadn't put a price on them before he left, I could take them for free. I was elated, but peering into the box, I noticed the tapes looked homemade. As I was walking home with a crisp autumn breeze in the air, I remembered that some of my classmates at the time had told me about this cool animation they found on a website called Newgrounds, and that had just been released on the website less than a month ago. They also had accounts on the site, and they wanted me to join. My house was built in 1905, and we purchased it from an elderly couple who died there some years ago. I walked down the slanted driveway that led to an open garage, and then to the white framed door that I was all too familiar with. I took a right to enter my house. We had a small kitchen with unusual orange tiles. The rest of the floor was all mostly matted carpet, except for a small hallway in the back and two opposite-facing dining rooms of differing sizes just past the kitchen. The color of the carpet was the type of ugly, dark brownish tan you'd expect to see in a mud puddle after a heavy rain. There was an equal sense of mysticism and unease that came with this old inherited house. A large wooden bookshelf here, a few plaid recliners there. I felt a sharp chill go down my spine walking through the living room, which should have felt warm and nostalgic. I decided to walk down to the basement later that night. The room was covered in a thick layer of dust. It looked like it hadn't been cleaned in years, judging by the grime and old furniture laying up against the walls. There was a TV laying against the back wall and a small bookshelf with a VCR hooked up to it laying on the ground. I dusted them off, turned the TV on with the remote on the top of it, and put the VHS simply labeled 1 in black marker on the outside label. I saw a cold autumn forest as the camera walked up a steep hill. He said that he was trying to look for a mysterious cult in the woods and that he wanted to prove to his friends that the cult wasn't real. He was clearly skeptical, with his sarcastic tone. He kept talking to himself about how ridiculous the whole thing was as he climbed up the hill. When he reached the top, he noticed that there seemed to be something glowing in the distance, like an abnormally bright campfire. The cameraman said that he was really surprised and said that he'd check it out before the tape cut off. I found myself intrigued, so decided to take out and play the next tape, which was appropriately labeled number 2. The tape started with the cameraman hiding in a bush far away from what looked like some sort of satanic ritual. He nervously zoomed the camera in to reveal something that hasn't left my mind since. There was a pile of skinned farm animals on a large arcane altar. The pig and chickens there looked like red, fleshy balloons. The stench of the animal blood is in the air. Neither I nor the man could make out what the cult leader was saying, but suddenly as the camera zoomed in further and all the veins of the animals started to pulse, the blood and the bones were coming alive. The cameraman wanted to describe the air as being thick, dense, and very hard to breathe in. He felt vomit rise in his throat. Evil abounded here. He ran as fast as he could before turning the camera off next to a secure tree as he panted with fear. The third tape I pulled out felt hot to the touch. I dropped it from the unexpected heat. It felt like an oven. I quickly put the tape into the VCR, but instead of any images, I was met with strange static, a red tint and ominous sounds, distant moans and cries of pain, scratching, scraping. It sounded like murder, and the sounds never stopped. The light bulb above me started buzzing and flickering as it swayed fiercely back and forth on its string. The whole room felt like it was shaking from an earthquake, but nothing was moving except for the light rapidly swinging. My heart was beating out of my chest. I quickly ejected the tape before things could get any scarier and ran upstairs as fast as I could to my room. I logged online to Newgrounds and told my friends what happened. Of course, they didn't believe me, so I decided to take my mind off of it and watch some cartoons other people made. My old account is long gone by now. I forgot my old code years ago. My therapist told me I should be doing something more productive to keep my mind off of recent events in my personal life. So I made a new account to share this story and prove, at least to myself, that I'm not crazy. The cult tapes reside in our basement still, and I haven't been down there since.